Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Deja and I just go over the Bible. I do a few Bible studies and we just talk about different stories in the Bible, different lessons in the Bible. More so just giving you a better understanding, because I know sometimes it's really hard to understand the Bible. And I'm not even gonna hold you, I didn't understand it at all in the beginning. So now that I've gotten older, gotten closer to God, I've digged deeper into understanding different stories in the Bible, different meanings behind each scripture, each chapter, each book. So I'm here to help you guys out who don't understand the Bible either. Let's get into this together. So as you can tell by the title, we are doing a new series and we are going to talk about a few of the women in the Bible that I love. Now, there are a lot of women in the Bible and they do amazing things, but we're only going to talk about 4, and I see these women's value, and not saying that all the other women in the Bible don't have a lot of value, but these I just understand a little bit more. And if you want, I can read into some of the other women and give a little more definition on who they are and the different lessons that I learned from them. Just these women that I want to speak about particularly, their lessons really just feed me, if that makes sense. So today we're going to talk about Ruth. Now, I love Ruth, and Ruth is actually, to me, I feel like one of the shortest books in the Bible. It only has 4 chapters, and her story speaks volume to me. I've read this book a few times through and through, and I'm like, wow, she is very strong, she is very loyal, and it just shows how like God can just use ordinary people and change your life, and how it can affect other people for the better, if that makes sense. So let's get into a little bit of who Ruth is. Let's go into her backstory. Let's get into Ruth. So if you don't know who Ruth is and I'm probably gonna say this wrong, she's a Moabite woman, and it tells her story about how she was very loyal to her mother-in-law, who was an Israelite. Now, Ruth was married to her son, and Naomi, the mother-in-law, Naomi, the mother-in-law, her husband and son, Ruth's husband, passed. So they passed away. Now, I'm thinking that at the time of where Naomi and Ruth were, they're really close. And Naomi, if I'm correct, Naomi was going to return to Bethlehem, and she told Ruth, like, hey, like, you're a Moabite, you should return home to your family. Like, your husband passed, there's not really a need to be with me anymore. You don't have any responsibilities, you don't owe me anything, you should go back home to your land, to your family. And Ruth was like, no. Ruth said absolutely not. And I love this part of the book, because you may have heard this before, you may not, but in Ruth 1, and it's verse, we're gonna go a little bit up, but it's about verse 14. It talks about how Ruth's sister-in-law, she left and went away. Like, she didn't have really any ties with Naomi anymore. So Naomi told Ruth, like, hey, you need to go too, your sister-in-law left. Like, you don't owe me anything, we have no life, like, just go home to your land. And Ruth told her, she said, entreat me not to leave you or turn back from following after you. For wherever you go, I will go, and wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, even if anything but death parts you and me. And she's just saying to Naomi, like, I'm with you forever, okay? Where you go, I'm gonna go. Who you serve, just because we come from 2 different backgrounds. Whoever you serve now, I'm gonna serve him too. And I love that because Ruth is showing her loyalty to Naomi. Like, regardless of if your son be here or not, I'm loyal to you. So they return to Bethlehem. And Ruth starts working in the fields and doing all the things, taking care of Naomi, making sure that they're provided for. Ruth does that. Again, showing loyalty. So then comes Boaz. He is a rich and he's kind, and he noticed Ruth and he notices her loyalty to Naomi. And she also notices Ruth's hard work. Like, Ruth is really out there doing her thing. And I love that because she's very, not saying, I mean, I feel like she's independent. Like, she stands on her own. And I love that. But anyway, make a long story short. Well, it's actually a short story, but it's to put it all together. Boaz then later, he marries Ruth. He sees her value. He sees her worth, and he marries her. Okay, and then together they have a child named Obed. And he is actually the grandfather of King David. Now, if you don't know who David is, ring a bell. David and the wife. David then becomes king, so on and so forth. And then boom, Ruth has lineage to who? Jesus Christ. What? So it's just crazy because it's like, again, a lesson that I've took from this story is that God uses ordinary people for extraordinary purposes. Okay? And he took Ruth, this Moabite woman, and it doesn't really entail too much of her life with her husband or with Naomi, but I feel as though from her saying, like, where you're gonna go, I'm gonna go, I'm following you, where you go, I'm going, who you serve, I'm serving, that right there shows that they've had history, okay? And it shows that she stuck with Naomi, and that God took this woman who isn't even an Israelite, but he sees her value and he sees that she has loyalty to this woman. He took her and put her in a position to where, like, there's lineage to Jesus Christ, if that makes sense. So anyways, this lesson also shows kindness, okay? Because Ruth was very kind to Naomi, and it shows that kindness always comes back to you. Ruth was kind to Naomi, and so because Boaz seen her kindness, he was kind to her. He provided not only for Ruth, but for Naomi too. That also shows, by Boaz being kind to Ruth, it shows how God can honor compassion. And it shows that Boaz had a lot of compassion for Ruth. Like, he didn't know anything about her. He just seen her working hard and providing for her and Naomi. And yes, Ruth went and gave him a little bit of, like, who she is. He's seen that, and he's still seen her worth and valued that, and I love that. It also, I feel like the story also teaches a lesson on how your past does not at all determine your future. Okay, Ruth was a foreigner. She was a widow. And she still became a part of something more than her background. And it shows that no matter what you've done in the past, if you remain loyal to God and continue to have faith in Him, who knows how your future can turn out. So yeah, if you want to hear more on the other women in the Bible that I've learned lessons from, please continue to watch this series. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. If you have learned a lesson from any women in the Bible, comment down below. I would love to hear more. Again, there are a few that I've jotted down because I love their story, but I want to hear more. So again, thank you so much for watching. Okay, I appreciate all of you, and I will see you in my next video.